This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded April 7th, 2014. Episode 193. Remorseless, Ram, Racketeering.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
Daylight saving again.
That time again.
It's ended here. Now I'm depressed.
It's like we're on a repeat. It's almost like we had a repeat show in the past.
That was not my idea, folks. That was not my idea. Last week's episode was...
That was my idea, yeah. Some people were angry.
Well, it was either that or do nothing, because we were actually going to take a week. Well, we did take a week off because you were in the ESC conference, right, or whatever it is they call it this week.
Yep, I was out in California on travel, so.
Yep,
and Dave's always busy, so it just.
And I'm always flat out, yeah.
So it seemed like a good way to do it. Now, there were some hints in there, though, and I'm surprised some people made it. So I put in a thing at the end. I kept the old music in at the end, and I put like a little, really, you didn't get it this yet, but there were some telling signs early on. One was me mentioning my fiance, and I've been married for about 2.5 years now, 3 years, I don't know.
Yeah, like people follow and remember your private life, you know.
Well, right, of course. The other one was, there was actually an interesting happenstance. I just tried to find the oldest one that would make sense. And, but it so happened that that was the show where we announced a new startup on the scene, which was Touchstone Semiconductor, which people may remember a couple weeks ago we announced closed. We don't know the whole story there, but we were sad about it. Obviously, we knew the people there. We've interviewed. In the meantime, we actually interviewed the people on the team and everything, and But yeah, so that was another indication. And then just sounding different in general. It was but yeah.
I think the general consensus was that no, that was a fail.
Well, at least I didn't post it on March 30th or whenever the hell you posted yours, man.
I got a few complaints, but I had to. People don't realize that I had to.
No, you don't. Come on, man. You're still
going
to get people.
Because no. Well, not the same amount. I want it to work. That's the whole idea of it. I hate April Fool's jokes, and you watch the video and it's so obvious, and then they get to the end and they go, "Oh, April Fool's." Why? It's stupid. If you're going to do it, make it real, right? Yeah. Anyway, there was deliberate reason why I did that. Time zone thing was one, right? Mm-hmm. If I waited until American time, which everyone wants, right? Oh, it's not April 1st. Well, tough tits for living in another country. Right.
So, I could forgive that if it was actually March 31st here when you posted it.
Yeah, it was. Unfortunately, it was early. It had to be early because I was very busy that day. I think it was the Tuesday, wasn't it? Was it the Amp Hour? Anyway,
it must have been.
I was super busy, so I wouldn't have been able to be there to, delete all the stupid comments that spoil it. The first comment, April Fool's, and it spoils it for everyone. Right? Come on, people. If you know it's an April Fool's, just have a laugh and wait a day or two before you comment. I know you want to prove how smart you are by picking up my April Fool's joke, but it just ruins it for everyone else, I think.
Yeah, it's...
Anyway.
Oh, well.
So, yeah, sorry. So it had to go, and then I couldn't release it on midnight because then I'd be sleeping, So,
Dave's next April Fool's joke will be delivered on Christmas Eve of 2014.
Anyway, I can't believe it. It actually worked. Practically everyone fell for it.
Did Fluke fall for it too?
They did for a little bit. They had people wondering, well, what the hell is this about? Did we actually, what? Is this a product I haven't heard of? And it fooled them for a little bit.
Well, okay, it worked. Solid.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was so obvious. I was like, because this was a last minute thing. Like I literally went and bought the meter. Well, I sent She Who Must Be Obeyed and Sagan off to pick up the meter on the Friday afternoon, and I shot the video, Saturday morning or whatever, and uploaded it. And then I had to get some parts, to make it look authentic. And they weren't even the right parts. And I was going, oh, this is not going to work. Look, it's obvious these aren't varistas, right? I was using MOVs instead of varistas, and everyone would know it. It's not the correct resistor type.
Of course.
Everyone's going to know it. Right?
Who couldn't spot an MOV from 1,000 yards, right?
And I thought, they're going to see that, And on top of that, I just thought, as if anyone's going to think that Fluke, the company that are synonymous with safety, are going to release a kit where people have to solder their own protection devices. I just thought it was so wacky, no one's going to believe it. But I guess people wanted to believe.
People
as,
believe
Fox,
stranger.
As
I think
Fox
that's the
Mulder
idea. Yeah.
says, I want to believe. And
yeah.
Shit, it worked.
Well, to continue the line of the Sparkfun Fluke thing, I actually, when I was in a computer store a couple days back, or week
you
or
found
two
one?
Ago, I found one. I don't know. Did I talk about that last week or last time we were on? I don't
No,
remember.
but it was on Twitter.
Yeah, it was on Twitter. So I found one, and I'm holding it in my hand. It's a collector's item now. So the bidding starts at $15, which is the list price.
You fool!
Sorry. The bidding starts at $100,000, which is the Chris price. Right. So yes, that'll have a new in packaging place on my bench.
Tell you what you should do: list it on eBay, right, with a price of like $2 million or something, and say this is the price that it would cost the legal defense to actually compete with Fluke legally to get their stupid, trademark beat.
Yeah. Oh man, friggin' lawyers. So in that same vein of lawyers, so we are still in the midst of a fight. We being the podcasting community and listeners being the podcast listening community. So I actually met someone involved with the Adam Carolla show out in L.A. last time when I was out there a couple months back. And so he's been kind of talking to me a lot of this stuff, and they've been having fundraisers and everything. But basically, Adam Carolla is fighting the patent trolls. And
who is he? I've heard of him, but I don't know the show. What does he do?
The show is actually, that's the number one podcast in the world, actually, in terms of downloads and everything. But
what does he talk about?
So he was a comedian. People in the States, at least, there was a show called The Man Show. It was him and Jimmy Kimmel. Kimmel now has a late night television show.
Yep.
And I mean, basically, it's kind of Seinfeldian. It's the show about nothing. I mean, they talk about comedy and everything else.
Got it. Yeah.
Sports and, just stuff, right? But people like it for his show for the personality. But basically, because he's the number one in the world, there's patent trolls going after him, and they're going after who else? They say it's only for-profit shows, so like they left like This American Life and a bunch of the NPR shows alone. But
because why go after somebody who doesn't have any money? It's pointless.
Right, exactly. And so they're taking the fight to him, and there's a funding campaign, like a crowdfund campaign. You can, get the usual swag, but this is actually a really good cause for the fight. And there's a bunch of clips about it. Actually, This American Life did a thing about it a while back, but definitely check it out if people are interested. This could really impact a lot of podcasting. And as this friend said, he's like, well, it doesn't seem like a big deal to us, right? Because we're small compared to everybody else, but eventually,
but that's
patent trolls don't stop when they basically you need litigation.
Once they smell blood,
exactly, and so they you need to basically strike down the patent somehow, and and if people don't remember, it's a ridiculous patent. Basically, they got a patent for magazines delivered on cassette tapes, and that is their claim that they invented podcasting.
They own media, exactly. It's just
ridiculous, and nothing they did ever worked. This is where I get confused though too. So like I was listening to all this stuff again today, and there is some kind of provision for prototypes like working, right, for patents. Is that not a thing? Am I mistaken about that?
What do you mean exactly?
So like when you go to patent something, don't you need you need a prototype? Do you need to show a working prototype or no?
No.
Oh.
I don't think so.
Well, that's stupid. Because, I mean, it seems like these guys never even had a working prototype, let alone anything that was commercially successful.
Yeah, no, that's how these guys make a living. These trolls.
Terrible. Terrible.
Yeah. No, they've just got an idea. That's what they've bought. They've bought the idea that's been patented.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure when. I think they used to have a clause, like way back in the, the 19th century or something, but yeah, I'm not sure of the exact details of that. But anyway, no, I don't believe that's the case. But yeah, bastards, really. But this impacts so much. It really does. It's not just his show or our show. It's goodness. It's the future of media delivery on the internet almost.
Right, exactly. Yeah, why would they stop with just audio delivery of podcasts, right? Well, I'm sure someone at some point has patented other types of delivery, YouTube and everything. I mean, like, obviously, like with YouTube, you have Google that could help fight with that kind of thing. But when they're going after individuals, like, how do you...
Yep.
It's really tough. And I think that in the more recent stuff, Adam talks about the actual amount they're going for, and like for a licensing fee, quote unquote, it's like $3 million
to license from this company.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, unbelievable.
Bunch of bastard coated bastards with bastard filling.
We need to dip into the Amp Hour coffers, I think, and donate to this thing.
Definitely.
Yep.
So yeah,
bad.
If other people are interested, if you like podcasts,
out, though. Like all the higher end, options are sold out to actually.
Oh yeah, they'll keep adding stuff.
Right. Digital studio tour, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But as always, they've picked the right target, right? They're not going to pick on someone small because they don't matter a rat's ass, right? They're not going to pick on somebody who's owned by Google or Disney or something, right? Because no, they've got endlessly deep pockets. They won't win. So they pick on someone like this who's, like number one in the industry, but still small enough to not be able to fund a defense for it.
Right. They make money, but it's also paying the people that work on the show and everything too, right? It's not
exactly.
Like
so they're not pulling in $10 million a year or something,
Yeah, I have no idea.
Maybe they are, but they've got overhead, right? But they certainly wouldn't have a war chest of tens of millions of dollars cash just sitting around to fund a defense for this thing. That's why they have to do the crowdfunding campaign. But, man, bastards.
All right, on to happier things. All right. And this is why we like open source hardware, right? Here's my segue. This is why we like open source hardware. And I got to see, so Bunny gave the talk at EE Live, which is the show that I went to out in California, and he had his prototype there. It was the first time it was shown off in public, and it was pretty. I don't know if have you seen this?
I've seen photos of it, yeah.
Yeah, the laptop. I was actually a little confused at first, because I have this idea in my head about laptops, right? Like what a laptop should be,
right?
And they've kind of spun it around where it's more like a book, it's just a book that kind of flips open, and the idea is you have access to all the hardware in the back, so you can actually probe and hack at it and stuff like that, and the screen basically pops up by itself, and then you have a separate keyboard, either plug in or wireless, whatever. And I asked the dumb question too. I walked up to Bunny and I'm like, well, so just it's not attached, it was just this idea in my head. Laptop means clamshell, but I guess no, it doesn't need to.
Well, it is a clamshell when you prop it up. It's got a little lever arm that holds the display up, but it's kind of like opening the bonnet of a car.
Right?
It's
it's like pneumatic though.
Yeah, so. Right. Yeah, I don't know.
You don't like it?
Well, look, it's obviously it's cool, right? I love the idea of them doing this, but the other half of me says, well, why? What use is it? I think the board alone is like $500, right? And I'm thinking, well, you can go and buy a mini, one of those micro ITX boards for $100 at your local computer store.
But if you're comparing this to commoditized PC
I know,
hardware,
but unfortunately. That's what It is these days. I mean, how many people want to hack it enough to want to pay 5 times the price, if you know what I mean?
Well, I think the comparison would be like, so what if you compared like the TI, the Launchpad, MSP430 Launchpad to an Arduino,
which
right?
costs
Arduino's
$4.30. Yeah.
Exactly, versus an Arduino which costs $20 to $30, right? I mean, like that would be the comparison, I guess. I mean, the difference in processing power is virtually nothing.
Right.
But you're buying into an ecosystem, and you're buying into openness.
But you can also buy a clone Arduino for $8-10 on eBay.
Right, of course. And eventually you'll be able to buy a clone board here for the same thing, but that's not the point,
Which is
Dave.
fine. And that's and that's why I support it, right? I support the project. You're just saying you wouldn't buy one for yourself, right? I mean, I wouldn't buy one for myself. I don't see a need to actually do it. But if people do,
I think about this
great.
a little bit, because I mean it's tough because it's called a laptop, right? And it is. I mean it's a display. It's got the processing power. It hooks up to the internet, all this other stuff. But really, it's an ecosystem. You're buying into an ecosystem. The thing that I think about when I look at this thing, especially because you can just buy the board, right? Yep. This is going to be, this is like a supercharged Raspberry Pi or anything else like that,
well,
right?
Exactly. Why
it's a starting point, and it can be integrated.
Why can't you just get didn't Intel release, what's the name of the Intel open source board?
The new one, the Galileo?
The Galileo. Why can't you just whack that in a box and put an LCD on it?
You could. It would be not even close in processing power. That thing was that uses an Intel Atom. I think it's an Atom.
Oh, okay. Right. I thought it was,
so this thing's like quad core, like 1.2 gig. I didn't look at all the specs. 4 gigs of RAM though. So this, quad core, 1.2 gig.
I assume you run a flavor of Linux on it. You just right.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to be running. You're not going to be running Windows on here. So I mean, that's always
of course
the difference, right? And but that exists in all types of PC hardware, at least. Having the premium you usually pay for that hands-off experience. Yeah,
it's in one of those interesting niches where they're trying to make it appeal as a laptop, right? But it obviously can't compete with a low-cost laptop, right? In terms of, bang per buck kind of thing. And then it's also trying to be accessible like a bare board, Galileo, Raspberry Pi type thing. Right, but then you're paying too much because you're paying for all the form factor and the screen and the case, and you can just buy the board on its own, right? But as I said, the board on its own is $500.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know, man. I think that I think this is a good in between though too, because
it could be
a lot of the difficult stuff is the drivers to set up the display and stuff like that, right? I mean, that is oftentimes a big piece of it, and the board support package is already done for Linux. Like all of that stuff's already there now. It's all the open source stuff that Zobs and Bunny are working on, and I don't know.
Well, I think it's all software. I mean,
it's just
as always, it comes. These open source hardware projects, they come down to software. Just like the Arduino, right?
Allow me to restate that though, because this is full blown Linux now. Dave, it's all software. Holy crap! That's the difference, right? I mean, that's what you're buying. You're buying into the ecosystem. That's what's cool about it.
Exactly. I know.
Okay, so we're the same, two sides of the same coin. Is that the idea here?
I think so.
Saying the same thing. You're not going to buy this for. You're not going to buy this for running, video processing, right? You're not going to do crunching video on this. No. Or we're not going to do this for CAD. I mean, I'm sure Bunny's running CAD on here, maybe through a virtual. You can run a virtual machine on Linux.
But if you're just doing that, why not just buy a normal laptop? Right?
One of the things that Bunny brought up in this talk, which was interesting, was the swappable battery. Because I tell you, that's the thing that, man, that's killer. Like, basically they're using these high capacity battery packs, for RC and stuff like that. And it's just, this form factor really lends itself to it. I mean, you could pack the entire, like if you look at the second picture there.
Yeah, because it's an empty.
That could be all battery. Like, that's killer. Sure. That's really killer.
It could be, if you want to trade off weight for battery, sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Any day. Yeah. And swappable batteries like that. I mean, I know that this stuff is all possible with laptops, but now you're buying commodity battery packs, right? Instead of like, paying Lenovo $100 for another battery pack, you pay $30 for, you could have 10 battery packs in your bag, right? Assuming you could get it through airport security. But I think it's cool. It's just I had to personally get past the form factor.
Right.
Boy, talk about a discussion piece too when you pop your laptop open. That'd be cool.
Oh no, yeah, of course, totally awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's it's a real high end niche. It's
very
certainly
high-end,
not
yes.
low. It's not it's not the sub $100 thing that everyone's used to with the Raspberry Pi and just being barely able to run Linux kind of thing.
Right. Well, I think we'll see this kind of thing though. It'll get worked into again. This is always about bringing more people into the community as well, right? So you think about having full blown Linux with this kind of accessible hardware, and Bunny talked about in his talk about they initially planned for this to be in a quadcopter, which would be a damn heavy quadcopter if you ask me. But you think about that, right? Say you wanted say you had not a quad, but maybe like an actual drone plane, right? With a gas motor on it and stuff like that, and it's actually up there crunching data and taking images and stuff like that.
Image processing in real time or something.
Right, high end stuff, right? That's like military style tech. But you could throw something like this in there now and actually interact with the hardware. And I think we talked about in the past too. I mean, this thing has an FPGA on the board as well, so you could do. I mean, you talk about extensible.
It's got an FPGA on the board, does it?
Yeah, it's got like a huge Spartan 6 on there. So.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Which are great chips. Those are really great chips, and I've seen it more and more places, and I really do like them. So,
well, one place where I've seen it is in the new Saley Logic device.
Yeah, that's right. I did. I saw that too. Yeah. Did you get one of these, or what's the deal?
I don't have one. No, I have not been approached to get one. They're running their own crowdfunding campaign on their own website. They're not doing it through anything else. Well, it's like a pre-order kind of thing. I think you can pre-order this thing. Yeah,
I was a little upset about this. Not upset. That's the wrong word. Why do this? I mean, why not just say we're taking pre-orders? Like, they have this target. Okay, here's the real question. Do we really think that they're not going to release this thing now? They have 4 different flavors of product. If they don't reach their target, then what?
No, they're a reasonable-sized company. They've already,
I mean, they're already there, so it's just like, well, why? I mean, I guess I understand it, but there's no real need for crowdfunding here. It's like pre-order, sure, but this is not crowdfunding. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's not. It's sort of, doing the hype kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people use crowdfunding for these days, is hype. I mean, I did. Hey, I'll admittedly do it because I wanted to test it, right? I wanted to see what it was like, but it was also partly for the hype reason and partly for the, the nice ability to get everyone's addresses and all that sort of stuff. It handles all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, okay,
nicely.
I get that. I mean, that's fine. Whatever. I just the first we're here to complain, right? So the first impression was, why are they doing this? And then what happened is I looked at the thing and I realized that this is exactly what I was asking for about 2 weeks ago. I was complaining about low-cost scopes, and hey, by the way, this isn't just a digital logic analyzer. This is a analog as well. And basically, this was the low end, the Logic 4 is $99.
Yep.
And I'm not sure about this page is tough to see. This is very
it has
Web
a 12 meg
3.0
sample has a 12 meg sample per second converter, 8 channels at 10 bits.
Yeah. So 600 kilohertz bandwidth. That's what I really that's the number I really care about, is 600 kilohertz, which isn't too great, but it's probably good enough for contextual electronic stuff that I'll be doing. The one I'm suggesting is actually I'm probably going to be using the Mini Lab, the Gabotronics Mini Lab.
Yeah, well, that's not even 600 kilohertz, is it?
No, it's 200 kilohertz. And so that'll be fine too.
Right.
So this is basically on par with the same kind of thing, except this Logic 4 is based on, you have to be plugged in, you have to have a display and stuff.
Yep.
So
and their high-end one is the Lot Pro 16, and that's $500, and that's USB 3, and that is a 12-bit converter at 50 meg samples per second. So that's really
and 5 megahertz. That's the one. Yeah, who cares about the samples, right? You're going to be 10x the bandwidth, but not. Yeah. So that's nice. I mean the the 12 bits is nice if you actually get all 12, if there's not noise in there. So,
and of course, to get all of that data out, they need a USB 3 connection, because what do they say? It's like if you add it up, 8 channels or 16 channels at 500 megasamples per second at 12 bits. Well, you're probably going to stuff it into 2 bytes worth of, RAM, right? Mm-hmm. 2 packets. No, because this doesn't have RAM built in, right? It's a streaming thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's the Saley Logic has always been a streaming device.
Is it really? So what is it? Just streams it direct? It streams
it directly through your USB port. Yeah. That's why these things are so cheap, is because they got no memory built.
Yeah, you're right. There's no
and
memory
they don't have the architecture to handle it and all that sort of stuff.
And that's why. So what is this other part on here? I can't see what it is. I see the FPGA, which is the Spartan 6, like you said.
They've got a Spartan 6.
Oh,
they've
some
got
Cypress part on there. Some Cypress.
It'd be the USB chipset. Yeah. So they've got to have a USB chipset. They've got to have a Spartan 6 to do all the all the processing and stuff.
And then some nameless chip here.
The ADC and the logic analyzer on the other side. The big one on the bottom side is the ADC.
Yeah. Okay. And then a bunch of op amps in front. Yeah.
And
cool.
The thing is, they the PCB on this sucker, they claim that it's more than 8 layers, i.e. it's 10 or 12 layer board. I'm going, holy shit.
Well, at least it's small. That helps.
Yeah, I know, it's tiny.
Yeah.
But that might be all the different stupid voltage rails they need for the Spartan 6, I guess.
Oh, you think? Yeah, I guess they're pretty space constrained. Doesn't look like they have much.
I don't know why they needed that many. I guess they're alternating grounds everywhere. They're just they're really just.
Well, you're more of a high-speed guy than I am. I mean, isn't that a lot of impedance matching stuff, though? You need, like, paired-up ground for controlled impedance stuff?
Only for the USB 3 part of it. Apart from that, no, you got, it doesn't matter. The runs are so short here that it wouldn't matter. It's, it's 500 meg samples per second, okay, but we're only talking a few millimeters of trace, 10 millimeters of trace, something like that. So you're going to do some basic controlled impedance stuff, but it's not going to be anything. It's more about your termination and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
But because they're so short, once again, they're probably not even terminating and stuff like that. I think they're just running them straight chip to chip, and they're doing that. Oh, someone's at the door.
Oh,
Take it over, Chris. Go for it.
This is interesting. So this kind of ran into the same problems that I've had in the past with like designing chips as well, because I had actually heard whispers about this. Someone whispered to me, "Oh, well, Salier, or however you say their name, they might be coming out with something soon. You should hold off for the class, right?" And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, so class starts next week. I can't wait that long though, right? And that's often the same kind of problem with, you'll have a vendor come in and they'll tell you, oh, well, we got this great new chip, and they get you all excited about it. It's got all the features that you need. It's got everything you need. It's custom designed for your application. And you say, well, when does it come out? Of course, it comes out 2 quarters from now. We're in very, very early stages of silicon testing, and we can't commit on a date, they say. And at least in this case, I think the crowdfunding thing said that it'll be 90 days from ordering or pre-ordering, which again is the same kind of thing where why are they doing pre-orders if it's 90 days from then? But yeah, it's the same kind of thing with chips though. You have someone comes in, they say, we have this awesome solution for you, but we can't promise a date. And so this is the same thing, and I couldn't end up using this one, unfortunately. But it does look like a nice chip on here, or a nice solution. I'll definitely try it out once it is out in the marketplace. I don't know if I'll pre-order, but
and I'm back.
You and your front door.
I know.
Jeez.
Trying to run a business here. How dare me?
How dare you, sir?
That was another 3 boxes of microcurrents just turned up.
Oh, good Lord.
Yep.
I was just talking about how this thing coming out after the fact, or too late for me, basically, was kind of like how that happens for chips. You know, like how someone would come in, we got the perfect solution for you, and it would be 4 months before it actually comes out.
Right.
It's the same kind of thing.
You can't buy it. So you've got to make a design decision now because you can't.
Right. Exactly. And then people ask you, like, when your product's in the marketplace 2 years later, they're like, well, why didn't you use this perfect chip that isn't available now? Well, it wasn't available when I was designing the damn thing, you know? So
if you're lucky, you might be able to get some pre-production prototypes of the chip, but only if you're important
I'm not in
enough,
the business of finding chip companies errata.
Right. Yeah, I've been there, done that. It's not pleasant.
You know, you only do that when you need the bleeding edge, right? I mean, like, and that's the price you pay. Sometimes you're going to run into bugs in the silicon or bugs in the code. I don't want to do that.
No, but
my life has enough stress.
As you said, sometimes you have to. Like when I was in the seismic industry, you know, there's only like 2 chips on the market and 2 companies that make chips for the specific seismic industry. You know, these world-leading 24-bit analog to digital delta sigma converters, right?
Yeah,
they're such low power, optimized for such low power and for such low noise and distortion and everything else that, you know, they're specifically designed for that market, for like 4 customers, 5 customers in the entire world who make these systems, right? But there's enough business there. Those two are duking it out
over the customers. It's either A or B. Take your pick. Choose your side. And line in the sand. Time to choose.
And didn't company B go aggro when I had to tell them, sorry, we're choosing company A's chip?
Right. Did they?
We put so much time and effort into supporting you, and out. Yeah, they went feral. Yeah, it wasn't pleasant.
Did they? It's always fun to see what, you know, when people take a hard line to, like, you know, this is the whole supply chain thing, you know, dealing with, you know, vendors. Oh, we can't go any lower than $1. Okay, well, I'm going with company B over there. Oh, did I tell you we couldn't go under $1? I meant we couldn't go less than 50 cents. And it's amazing.
Yep.
You know, I think a lot of sales revenue is based on the idea that you don't have time to do that, right? Or that you don't have the pricing power to do that, or that you don't have the options to compare against. And it's like, but when you do, man, talk about price flexibility. You never realize how little you can pay for stuff when,
yeah. Oh man, I know.
You know, that was another thing. I was talking to a friend at the show too, because the same kind of thing came up. Remember when we were talking about that zombie video that T.I. did, that ridiculous waste of money? It was the same kind of thing. Every time I go to a trade show, it's the same kind of thing. I look at these gigundous stands.
Any booth babes?
Some booth babes. It's getting a little better. It's not as intense. But like Tektronix, like just plastered the whole place at the MDO 3000. Like, you know, good scope, right? Cool. And they're trying to push it out. But like, honestly, like they had things like you were stepping on the floor, the advertising on the floor, right?
Oh,
and
no,
like,
right.
What am I paying for here? Just, you know, like, damn it. Every time. I just, you know, like, I know that advertising's a thing. I get it. Marketing is a thing. And
they bought the premium package. The organizers will offer you anything.
I know, yeah. Putting stuff in the urinals and...
Yeah, exactly.
What is it, MDO 3000 toilet paper? Why? We clean up the competition.
I'll pay that.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it's the same kind of thing, you know. Why am I paying? And you know, it's all in that price flexibility, right? You know, like it's that when you don't push for that hardest price, that best price, all that extra money, it goes into the kitty, and then everybody gets a slice. Marketing gets a slice. Advertising gets a slice. You know, R&D gets a slice, which I'm okay with. You know, that's fine. I want them to get a slice, but it's just part of business, and it's tough for me to swallow sometimes.
And you were talking about, you know, you don't want the silicon bugs and stuff like that. Well,
oh, yeah.
You know, when I got, I got alpha chips, right?
Oh, yeah?
Right, the absolute first spin silicon that they got, they had barely tested it themselves, you know, and they shipped it to us, right, because we needed these things, right? They had designed this new chip. Oh, it's fantastic. But but we've never gotten silicon back before, but here, we'll ship you, we'll take
they
some
drop
ourselves.
Shipped it to you from the fab.
They drop shipped it, I think, from the fab, and and of course the data sheet didn't exist. It would be the existing data sheet for the previous part, and then just some handwritten notes about, a post-it note with the extra registers on it, that this one would have, and I found all sorts of bugs in there, and I was documenting everything for them, and yep.
And then they come out, and you're yelling them out of the meeting, and they come out, and you're pointing at the data sheet with the post-it note on. You're like, "You are totally wrong here." And they go, "Oh," and then they pull the post-it note off, they flip it over, and they post it back on there. Right now, it's okay.
That's it. They turned upside down. No, this is what we meant.
Yeah, everything's fine now.
It reminds me of that scene in Independence Day when Will Smith is flying the ship out and trying to fly the ship out of the thing, and he goes backwards, tries to go forwards, he goes backwards, and his post-it note's upside down. Oops. And
exactly.
His instructions, yep. And that's crazy. That's what it's like. But hey, if that's the industry you're in, you've got to pay that price. Yeah.
And the whole chip industry is just it's so insane, right? You talk about price for buying components, but now we see companies buying entire parts of other chip companies, right? So the news this week is that Apple is going to buy parts of Renesas, basically. So you talk about supply chain issues.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah. So they're trying to. They were in
trouble. They were in trouble, weren't they? Renesas?
What for? Oh, yes,
I
they
thought,
were.
I thought they were in financial trouble. They were laying off people or something like that. I heard.
Right.
They were laying off
and so
divisions.
Renesas is the combination of NEC and Fujitsu,
they're
it's a bunch of Japanese companies, former Japanese companies.
Yep.
Well,
they are
big names.
Were the number one microcontroller manufacturer in the world at stage a few years back.
They were number one. And then they had you at their conference, and I think they nosedived, right? They once you
after the conference I went to, they were I don't know whether or not
causation or correlation.
Causation does not necessarily equal correlation. Sorry. Correlation does not equal causation. Yeah.
Right.
It could. Anyway, they are huge. Hardly anyone that in the our sort of level audience use them. But unless you work at an automotive company or something like that, you're probably never going to touch them. Right.
I always think white goods. Actually, that's what I usually think of for Renesas. Huge volumes.
Yep.
Yeah, but every fridge has one of their 8-bitters in it, or it has the 32-bit, the low cost 32-bit. And they're cool parts. They had that design contest. Were you part of that design contest?
Yes, I was. I was a judge in that.
Yeah, that was a cool design. They're cool boards. They're good parts
awesome
and everything.
Chips, yeah.
And it's an alternative to ARM, right? That's another one for me. They have a different core in there.
Yep.
And but that could be hurting them just as much.
So what aspects are Apple buying, do we know?
I didn't focus on that so much as the price, because I was very intrigued.
I don't care about the price. I want to know what
I do care about the price. No, here's the thing. They're going to buy a shitload of fabs and a bunch of IP, right? And they're going to pay about $450 million, I think the number was.
Is that all?
$450 million. Yeah, exactly. And now look at, what are we comparing it to, Dave? What is our new benchmark?
Nest, right?
Nest. Google paid $3.2 billion for less than 50,000 devices sold, and no manufacturing capabilities.
Which they've stopped shipping.
That's the difference, though. How can you make that comparison now? It's this is just funny money at this point, right? Renesas has fabs, man. They can make silicon. They don't make silicon. They can process silicon. Exactly.
It is hardware. And for $450 million, that's bargain.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Apple just got themselves a bargain. And Nest.
Well, there's nothing closed yet, so it's not closed yet. So
right. Okay. Right. But Apple needs fabs. Apple want their own, and it's not like they're going to buy part of Intel. No, they're going to,
Nor
Renesas
Samsung.
Exactly. So Renesas is a great fit. That's a...
Yeah. And... Yeah. So, and we're going to see more of this, but it's just, man, it's just a supply chain issue out the wazoo. I mean, so we've heard about this before, right? Where Samsung or Toshiba or Micron, they'd say, here's our lot for the month, right? We have, 100,000, million, 2 million wafers. I don't even know what the numbers were. And Apple swoops in, they say, oh, we'll take all of them, right?
Yeah. That's how Apple make their money, believe it or not. Instead of Apple invest, like Apple have got like $50 billion cash in the bank or something ridiculous. Right?
Yes.
And instead of like investing that money in something, what they do is they buy parts. And they come along to these companies and they go, we're going to buy 10 bazillion parts. And that company says, because that's gold to a company, right? When you
it's guaranteed money on the books from a really
money, monthly,
cash-heavy
bang,
company.
Bang. Exactly.
Yeah.
So they will give them the absolute rock bottom price that absolutely no one else can get, because they're not going to buy that sort of volume. So Apple will buy the next 5 years worth of volume in processors, right? And they'll buy it up front. And these companies bend over backwards and sell it to them for pennies on the dollar. And then nobody else can compete in terms of buying memory for that price, for example. Apple are probably getting the cheapest memory on the planet.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Right? Yeah, because the sheer volume, so that's where they put their money. They have no problem with signing a $2 billion purchase order to buy 5 years worth of flash memory.
Right. Right. Assuming not just all the same node either.
No, and you can't compete with that. But they get more return on the investment. I think somebody calculated once in the industry, it was like a 15 to 20% return on your investment. And trying to get that return anywhere else is crazy. So
Oh, yeah, right.
So buying inventory is...
Yeah. There's supply chain rivals out of like Walmart. Walmart will do the same thing. They'll come in and they'll say,
of course.
They throw their weight around. That's the same thing, right?
That's it.
And I mean, companies are, like Cirrus Logic, right? They actually are hurt because they had Apple come in and do that and say, I think it was Cirrus. Are they the audio company? Maybe it was Sierra. I don't remember. Cirrus Logic do audio devices.
Yeah,
and so basically Apple came in and said, we want to buy all your audio drivers. You're going to go into every iPhone, right? And basically they're 80% of Cirrus's revenue.
Business, right, yeah.
And then what happens is basically you're so dependent on one company that when Apple says, "Oh, we need a place for cost reductions. Let's go to the people that are completely dependent on us," right? And they start turning that knob and start exactly. And
ruthless.
And it turns into like a mafia thing, right? It's like, damn shame for us to break your revenue sheet here, buddy.
You want us to break both?
It's crazy, right? Yeah. And this is not a new thing either, right? I don't want to sound like I'm naive
it's been
here, right?
going on since day dot.
Exactly. Yeah. I had a friend who told me about this happened and maybe I mentioned on here before. This would happen with capacitor vendors in the car industry. Like GM would come in and say, "Well, we really like what you're doing here, but we want you to build up we need more capacity." And so the company would go build capacity for it, right? And they say, "Oh, that's great. Thank you. We'll buy all your parts." But we need a 20% reduction, or else we're going to go over next door. And like, that's what you do, right? I mean, that's a supply chain thing.
Yep.
It's crazy money. And so this is another, so like people say, oh, I'm sure there's people listening, right? And they're like, oh, well, supply chain stuff doesn't really affect me, right? But it affects all of us because, so thinking now as a consultant, not a supply chain thing, you now have, people all over the world, right? You have embedded consultants, right? As I was just talking to tons of embedded consultants. They walk into an office, right, and they talk to an embedded consultant.
Sounds like a joke coming up. A bunch of embedded consultants walk into a bar.
I know. No, it's not going to be a joke. It's actually not a joke at all. And they walk in. So you walk into a room a company walks in a room with embedded consultants, right? And they say, "I want a device that can, an Internet of Things device, and I want it." And I want it in blah, 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 and I want it to touch screen and yada, yada, yada. And the consultant says, that's great. Your device is going to cost $1,200 and it's going to take me 3 years to build, right? Because of all the stuff I needed to do in it. And I can't use, certain open source stuff because of whatever. And then they turn around and here's what they all say. But my iPhone can do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, screw you, man. Like, look what Apple's doing. They buy $5 billion worth of parts, like... I can't do that. I'm buying single quantities on DigiKey for your prototypes. It's like...
That's a tad different, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But like, there's that expectation built in, and that ends up affecting a lot of consultants, right? Now we have these ubiquitous devices that people think, oh, well, I can just everything should be like that. It's $600, right? But why not just integrate that? Well, talk about a supply chain issue. You want to integrate an iPhone into your end user device? Good luck with that. So
I thought you were all for that. Tablet devices controlling everything.
I'm into the mindset of integrating with existing devices. But if if a customer comes in and says, I need it to have its own screen, right? That throws everything out, right?
You're right.
That you're into a whole other supply chain game. It sucks. I mean, that's the reason to integrate that stuff, but it's still a supply chain nightmare. I guess I'm kind of playing both sides of that issue.
You are. I won't.
I like it, but I hate it. Yeah.
Can we come up with a term for these? Are they Silicon Mafia?
Oh man, I don't know.
The Silicon Mafia.
There's probably a good.
There's a blog post
good
right
name
there,
for it. What is it called? It's called not bribery, but whatever it's called. Yeah, there's all these. Oh, is it racketeering? Is that the one?
Coercion.
So
there's corporate coercion.
I mean, there's all these different terms when people get arrested in the mafia.
There's there's this episode's headline: corporate ship coercion.
Yeah, coercion or racketeering or something.
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
He's typing it down.
I'm typing it down. I won't forget it. So speaking of other things that can be integrated, though, so we were talking about integrating iPhones and all the crap associated with that. Do you see the new Raspberry Pi announcement thingy?
No, I get so many. I just tune out every time Raspberry Pi is mentioned.
Dave has no idea what's going on in the electronics industry right now, folks.
I don't. I don't care. I'm just so over
microcurrents, he definitely knows about those. So basically the idea is that the Raspberry Pi Foundation took what is the Raspberry Pi and basically put it onto a SO-DIMM module, and now same kind of thing, kind of like the the Novena.
Back to the Future. That was the SO-DIMM form factor was all the bloody rage 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And now it's back.
I mean, it's not like it's gone. It's not gone away.
No, it hasn't gone away.
It's just a standard low-cost header, man.
Yeah.
It's
I think it doesn't even have a standard de facto pinout as well or something. I don't know.
I think. I mean, for the memory side, it does, but I don't know about if this will follow that.
Was, I've got a recollection that there was an SO-DIMM form factor, like SO-DIMM processor form factor, and a few of the embedded companies, I'm talking, what are the big, I used to be into this industry, the big name, traditional embedded processor companies before the Raspberry Pi and the bloody Arduino came along.
Right, the ones doing PC-104 and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, the PC-104. There was a SO-DIMM form factor sort of de facto standard that a few companies got behind, and they were offering these processor modules, on an SO-DIMM.
Well, yeah, I mean, standard pinouts are nothing different, right? I mean, I was hanging out with Microchip at EE Live. They have that pigtail. I had never seen that, but it's the same kind of thing. I think that uses some kind of standard card edge as well. I mean, there's always so many ways you can hook things together, and card edges are still pretty cheap relative to a mated pair of connectors, right?
Yep. So and it's nice. It's a very compact little form factor.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. There you go. The embedded open modular architecture. I think that's it.
Wow, that really rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
Yeah. No. SO-DIMM form factor. Yeah, is suitable for, looks like there is something behind that. Yep.
Okay, so maybe this, well, who knows if this actually does that, but I don't know. It seems to fit well with what they're going for, right? You get more breakouts this way.
Yeah,
they have a separate I/O board and stuff like that, and it could be good. I mean, you could design your own boards for this to integrate into if you have a standard pinout now. I don't know.
Great.
I've yet to fire up my Raspberry Pi. I'm going to be completely honest here, Dave.
Yeah, same here. I've got one sitting here. Exactly.
First it was the SD card, then it was the goddamn HDMI header. I'm such a hypocrite.
Yep.
So many things out there, so little time.
Yes.
So little time. So but this is, another form factor. So that's good.
Can we have a scam product of the week? We haven't had one for a long time.
Right. Now, I wasn't sure about this one, though. I thought we had talked about this on the Oh, no, I know it is, but I thought we had talked about it on the show, though.
Did we? No,
maybe it'll start to sound familiar.
It's not. It's too new, isn't it?
No,
it's
I
too
thought
new
this thing
for
was
us
out
to
for
having.
No, March 20th. This article came out.
Unless it existed before the crowdfunding campaign started.
This article was written on the 20th, so yeah, it's been out for a while.
Okay.
I thought we did mention. So basically, though, the idea is this is a thing on Indiegogo. And it's a watch that's supposed to...
Warning bells right there, folks. The gaming website of choice.
Right. And basically the idea was they could track your caloric intake through your skin. And okay, done.
Skin resistance, right? Yeah, we've got some magical special algorithm
and that's why I thought we were talking about this here.
No.
I thought maybe it wasn't.
Have we? I don't know. We'd have to do a search of our website. I don't know. We've done too many episodes. I don't remember. But it's bullshit.
So anyways,
it's bullshit.
Totally.
Look, they can make it work and give out numbers, right? Your skin resistance is going to change, so you can whack some magic algorithm in there and it's going to spit something out, but it's just going to be a bullshit number, right? It's not going to have any relationship to your true calorie intake and number of calories burned. It's bullshit.
That's right, folks. We are talking to an original wearables health tracker entrepreneur here, right? What was that thing you made, Dave?
I do have a patent pending. Well, I
Pod
did have
Sweat? Is that what it was?
Yeah, Pod Sweat. I did have a patent pending. It wasn't a wearable device, so it used your.
Oh, it wasn't wearable.
You used your phone before smartphones came along. It used your phone to track your exercise routines and stuff. But anyway, I know a bit about skin. I know it's bullshit. It's just skin resistance equals calorie intake. There's so many researchers working in this field. You don't think that they've tried to get a correlation between skin resistance, which has so many noise factors involved.
I know, right?
It's just ridiculous. I can change my skin resistance by just getting worked up talking about this shit.
Right.
Nah. It's just garbage. Everyone knows.
Yeah, I think the thing is that it raised so much money. I mean, it raised $730,000, right? So that's the real thing.
It's approaching $1 million, and it's still got 7 days left. It's 977,000 now.
Oh wow!
So it's going to hit $1 million. It's got 8 days left. There you go.
Could make $1 million.
And the thing is, it was supposed to be an American company, right? But it's not. It's actually a Russian company. All they've got is some lawyer in America and some shelf company that exists in California or something. That's it. And it's
Well, we shouldn't argue against that too much. I mean, former guest Marcus, that's basically how he operated too.
Yeah.
We just like him, and his products actually work. So,
yeah, exactly. And he got his $500,000. He got his.
I know. I saw that. That's great, man. Yeah. So I'm guessing that's probably the amp hour bump, right? That's
right. Of course, totally.
Probably not the merits of the awesome little device that he designed.
No.
The fact that he appeared on the show.
Sheer marketability of the amp hour. Yeah.
It's really it's tough to beat our reach and our power.
and anyway, the thing with this is where Pando Daily. Apparently, Pando Daily's big. I don't know.
Yeah, they interviewed me at one point.
Oh, right. Okay.
Did you know that?
Well, that's obviously they're right up there with the New York
Especially
Times.
once I emailed them and asked them to interview me. But yeah, Pando's pretty big. So a bunch of former TechCrunch writers went over there.
Right, okay. Yeah, apparently TechCrunch is big too. I don't follow any of these websites. And they exposed this thing, right, as basically being a complete scam. They got all these experts to give their opinion, and every expert said, no, it's bullshit, it's a scam, pretty much. Or it's just not going to work. Like, it might not be a scam as such. Like, they might actually go through and produce the device and actually deliver it. They could even do it on time. But the thing is, it's not going to work, right? It'll spit out a number, but it's not going to do what it claims. That's what everyone's saying by a scam.
Right. Yeah, this is kind of the downside of the whole crowdfunding movement, right? Before, we could say, well, proof is in the pudding. Show us when you're done, buddy. Right? And now we don't get that anymore. Like I remember, I still remember EE Storage. You remember those guys? I think I complained many times since, and nothing heard from them. Still, I've still called that one.
That was before crowdfunding, wasn't it? EE Store.
Yeah, and they, that company would have. If crowdfunding would have been available, I guarantee they would have taken people through the ringer. They would have just because it was such an appealing. There's these visceral, I want it to be true kind of thing. To the point where people will throw money on it.
Of course,
fitness devices, right? Get rich quick schemes, free energy, all the usual hitters, right?
Yeah,
and it's always the same.
You're always going to get, and people keep falling.
You always get someone, and
you get enough because the world is full of idiots, and that just there's
another sucker born every minute.
Exactly,
sure,
full of fresh meat every time.
Yep,
it never goes stale. But the thing is, right? Pando Daily exposed this. Right, and they went to Indiegogo. They even had conference calls or something with Indiegogo, right? Because they were so important that Indiegogo responded to them officially and all this sort of stuff. And they go, "Oh no, we have fraud to order this magical fraud detection system in place that would have caught this, and it went through and it passed with flying colours. This is not a fraud. It's not a scam.
Yeah,
and so what Indiegogo did is actually removed a clause from their terms and conditions that say we vet every product that comes through for fraud, right? For
so much easier.
Whether or not it would work. And they actually removed that from their terms and conditions, so they no longer you gotta be shitting me.
Well, they're still in the business to make money, right? They make money in volume.
Totally.
So
it's a scam.
Until they get in trouble about it, right? It's kind of like patents. Until you get in real trouble about it, you're going to keep trying it. So
that's why it's the scammers' haven of choice. Because not only do they don't care, I don't think they've ever cancelled a project or shut it down because of some complaint. Or in this case,
I don't know that, but yeah.
Well, I haven't heard of an instance. There could be, but anyway, there's been so many projects out there that people have complained about, and they haven't shut them down. And and now but they've got the flexible funding campaign as well, where people get the money regardless.
Right, we had someone write in about this, and he made a good point. He's like, "Well, I had a valid Indiegogo campaign because I wasn't in the States and I couldn't get it through there on Kickstarter, right? Like you had the same thing before Kickstarter came to Australia,
yeah, exactly,
and that's true, right? He made a good point. Okay, I had flexible funding, I was not a scam, but it's kind of like it's like Union or
no. On Indiegogo, you have a choice. You don't have to use flexible funding, right? So that was his choice.
Right, exactly. But the idea is that it's not that every flexible funding campaign is a scam. It's that every scam uses flexible funding.
Exactly.
That's basically what it is.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you said that. I didn't say that. Dave said that for for
there
clarity.
Will be exceptions, right? There will be exceptions though. Not all scams. A good and intelligent scammer won't use flexible funding because they'll know that people think it's a scam if they use flexible funding. So, that's not flexible funding. It can't be a scam. Oh, must be real. Right. I'm going to buy one of these Bigo bloody, whatever it's bloody called. Anyway, this one does use flexible funding, but they've smashed their target. I mean, they were, they're only asking like 100,000 and they've gotten basically they've reached 1 million. So,
yeah, right.
No. The Hebel Gobi.
Well. Oh. Gobi.
Oh. Yep. Hang on.
What, another?
Headbutt.
Oh, it was a headbutt. I thought you were going back to the door. I can't tell with you anymore, man.
Sorry, man. I just got to headbutt the mic.
The delivery man showed up to punch Dave in the face because he was so frustrated. Delivery.
That I'm never here.
Pow! Right in the kisser.
Apparently he came the other day and I wasn't here, and he came early. I don't get in the office before at 9:30, absolute minimum.
Earliest, right?
Yeah, earliest. Yeah,
the life
exactly.
we lead is so difficult.
It's like, you didn't leave a card, dude. I could have. If you left a card under the door, I could have phoned you up and but no. Anyway.
Oh well.
Yep.
So what is going on? I saw your op-ed video. That was a good video, man. Very.
Thank you very much.
Very thorough.
Well,
Not
I
as
don't
good as
think
my
so.
post about op amps from way back when, but of course, but you know, what can I expect from not an analog guy, right?
As usual, I didn't put a lot of thought into it. It was just, I just thought, I'll do an op amp video. Everyone's been asking for that. Press record, say something,
and go.
And go. Yeah, and yeah, you know, I probably might be too hard on it. Everyone loved it, but yeah, to me, it wasn't the best. You know, I could have done better if I thought about and did retakes and yeah.
Well, good enough, man. Good enough.
That's
YouTube worthy.
Exactly. YouTube approved. Stamp.
That's right. Right.
Upload. That's it.
Yep.
And and as usual, it was supposed to be half that length. You know, I thought, 20 minutes tops. Come on. How hard is it to be if you're just teaching the basics of op amp? I mean, 10 minutes worth of theory, 10 minutes of practical, 20 minutes. And, you know, 48 minutes later, you know. Yeah. Always disappointed with myself. Can't help it.
Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I'll live. It's all right.
So another link.
No, you wanted to talk about something that's happening in your life, didn't you?
I'm pregnant. I don't know. What are you talking about?
I don't know. Before the show, you said, we'll talk about it on the show.
Like you asked how I'm doing. Yeah, I said, yeah. Well,
I asked about how you doing, and
I figured we'd talk about the show. So I got to hang out with Jack. I got to see tons of people at the show. It was great, man.
Right. Yeah.
So I had breakfast with Jack Gansel. He's doing well. He says hi.
Cool.
I got to hang out with Alicia, and so I saw her talk, and we hung out. We were rolling around the show floor. And
literally,
we're like, we're the only two podcasts out here. And then she would ask people to do an interview, and I'd be like, we'll figure it out later. So she's gonna have lots of great guests soon.
Right.
And then her and Chris, her husband, they graciously gave me a ride to the train station in their Tesla Model
awesome.
S.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was so cool. So that was awesome too. So yeah, it was great. I mean, the usual folks of the show. Got to hang out with Jason Kreidner and Hillary from LaCroix as well. I mean, like, it was just like, a lot of the people that are at these trade shows I'm getting to know over time, and it's great to hang out with everybody and see everybody, and so it's good. It's like it's what I always talk about. So I did this talk a while back at out in Iowa at the IEEE Eta Kappa Nu Student Leadership Conference, which I was asked to go to. Yeah. But the talk was called "Engineers Are Human Beings," right? And
right.
I kind of bombed the talk, but I think the actual content was good. But basically talking about all the different the things that we can't just be engineers stuck in our basements,
why not?
Hunched over our oscilloscopes, right?
Why not?
At a certain
That's
point,
how
Dave,
the best
right?
stuff gets done.
That's how the best stuff gets done, but it's not how the best stuff gets out in the world, right? And so if you want to maintain some control, which I know you do,
shipping is highly overrated. Shipping stuff, actually delivering stuff, highly overrated.
I'm not talking about the delivering. I'm talking about like making so we talked about supply chain stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing, right? You have to go out and you have to talk to people and make deals and deal with distributors and all that crap out there, right?
No,
it's just
don't.
a realistic
you can just buy on DigiKey. I never talk to a human.
Okay.
Dude, you're doing it wrong.
Dave, if how many are you selling in a year?
You can stay in your basement, dude. It doesn't matter as long as you margin it in. If you're in a niche product field, you can pad that in.
First off, you were telling me before the show how much business crap you've been doing lately. You said, don't you try and trick our listening audience into thinking that you're some kind of bench-only engineer, because you're not, and I know it. Mr. Forum posting. You interact with people more than I do on the forum.
Yeah,
so
but I do it from my windowless cubicle.
All right, I'll give you that one. But still, you still have to email. It's even the other stuff, right? I mean, even understanding, how people interact on forums and in email and all this other stuff, right? There's always this human aspect in there.
Right.
You don't have to do it, but you are going to be more successful if you understand this stuff. And that was kind of the whole idea with the talk.
Right.
And one of the things I talked about is that, even the best forums and the best online interactions, those connections are made stronger when in person, shake someone's hand, and talk to them, right? And,
totally.
You know, I'm not saying that I can be an extrovert all the time, but what I'm saying is like I can do it for a day or 2 days, and then I go back into my cave and I regroup and everything else, right? That's just how introverts work. They can get out of their shell, but then they have to go back in. But then the point of this is that it's really valuable. I mean, you make these stronger connections.
Oh, of course.
And the thing I talked about in the talk was it's kind of the give a crap model, right? I mean,
right.
I know a lot of people online, and when someone comes to me and says, "Chris, do you know anyone who does X?" Right? And I just say, "Oh yeah, I know a bunch of people who work on X all the time," right? And X being whatever. But the ones that I give a crap about, I'm going to call first, or I'm going to suggest first, right? That's the give a crap factor, and that's what's forged in person, shaking hands and, you know, having dinner together and drinking beers together, that kind of thing. That's the reason that, you know, I think oftentimes local connections are often stronger than remote connections, you know, like people that I know over the airwaves, because it's just, you know, like I've interacted with them personally. You know, I know more about their family life and their, you know, their what's going on with them. You know, that's just the human aspect of it all.
You won't get any argument
conferences are important. Yeah, that's what conferences are important for. And so it's nice to do that once in a while. I don't know if I want to do it a lot, but
right. See, I would do it all the time if there were opportunities here. Like, you know, I was invited to ESC, you know, expenses paid, right? But, well, no, I'm sorry, it's 15,000 kilometers away, you know?
Right.
So,
yeah, it is a long haul for you.
Yeah. So, but all local stuff, I'll be all over it.
Right. Well, the backwaters of the electronics world, I'm sure they're getting better, right? I mean, they're not as backwatery as they used to be.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. I gave a talk. No, I didn't give a talk. I did a booth. I did my first time I've ever done a booth before.
You've done a booth?
You've done that before.
You were dressed up in hot pants and
it was dressed up like a 6 foot tall hot dog. Let's all go to the movies. You guys used to have that?
No.
The dancing hot dog? No.
No, I'm sure it's
let's all go to the
American.
Movies. No, it was like it's like something that used to play before the movie started. It wasn't.
Oh yeah.
Oh, let's all go to the lobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's all go to the lobby.
Yeah, we used to get those at the drive-in. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
And trying to get you to go buy Coca-Cola and Salem hot dogs. Yeah. So no, I was not dressed up like a hot dog as much as I would have liked to be. No, I was doing basically I just had like a big panel of the PCBs or
I saw a
bunch
photo
of boards.
Of that, yeah.
Yeah, so I just threw a bunch of boards that I had in my basement together and labeled them, and then I was doing like live KiCad demos and stuff like that when people were interested. Otherwise, this was Maker Faire Cleveland, Mini Maker Faire Cleveland.
Okay.
So,
and how'd it go? How'd you enjoy your booth?
It was good. You get to meet a lot of people. I was a little worried about, I'm not around kids very often, so I was worried I was going to get sick. Just because, like I hear from you all the time, oh, I got sick again because Sagan's at daycare. It's like, yeah.
Doesn't go to daycare. He goes to preschool.
No, whatever, man.
And he's only just started, so he doesn't.
I know,
get sick.
but like you always tell me he's getting you sick, so I'm just worried. And I hear friends that they're like, "Oh yeah, my kid sneezed in my mouth again." It's like, oh god. It's just kids they're germ factories. It's fine. There's like a whole bunch of Louis C.K. bits about that too.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so I was worried about getting sick right before traveling. But yeah, it was fine. It was, kids are interested. There was a bunch. It's just like, and I got to see some trends too, which is cool because I usually, I usually interact with kids that often. But a lot of them are into Minecraft and stuff like that. First Lego Robotics League, and I didn't even know a lot of this stuff happened in Cleveland. Because there's some underfunded schools in the area and stuff too. But there was a lot of kids there that were doing this stuff, and it was just really encouraging. These are the gateway drugs to engineering,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So it's going to be, it always makes me feel better about the future. So that's good.
So did you end up seeing the show? Or did you just spend all day on your booth?
All day in my booth. I didn't have anyone to help me out. So next time I have to have someone take over.
That's the only downside, isn't it? Is that you don't actually get to see the show. I enjoyed I did my booth. I had a booth for 2 days at the at the local electronics show. And, I really enjoyed it. It was novel, It wasn't the first time I've manned a booth, of course. I've done it for companies that I've worked for. But,
right.
Yeah, it's...
First time it was your booth,
yeah,
though, right?
First time it was my booth, People were coming to the booth to meet me, or walking up. What the hell do you do? I don't know. I can't figure it out. I don't do it. What the hell are you selling? Oh, I'm not selling that. It's free. What? Don't understand. And then you got to spend 10 minutes explaining it to them.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun. Would I do it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of work
right.
and stand around all day, and you don't get to see the show.
Right. Well, and I've talked to people about that too so the big Maker Faire, which actually I just booked my tickets today. I'm going to be out in Maker Faire Bay Area, and then SolidCon, which is 2 days later.
Cool.
So I'll be out in San Francisco for a week as well. But so I've talked to people about Maker Faire before, and it's you have to decide: do you want to meet a lot of people and help your business, right? Because it's good for leads and stuff like that for businesses. Or do you want to and sleep, right? That's the other thing.
Right.
It is exhausting for these people.
Yeah.
I mean, you've experienced it, obviously.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
totally.
People who haven't done it before, it's imagine, it's not just that you have to explain something. It's you have to explain the same thing over and
50,
over
100
and over
times.
again.
Yeah.
And it's just exhausting.
It is, totally. And
So-
just standing up all day, and you usually don't have time to go for lunch. So you usually skip, you often skip lunch, or you just have a chocolate bar that you stuffed in your bag, or, something like that. It's,
Yeah, I got lucky. I found a protein bar at the bottom of my backpack. So,
Nice.
It was gross. So so it was interesting. I mean, it was interesting. I'd probably do it again, just help the local community and stuff like that.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, I don't think I'd ever do a booth at Big Maker Faire. I mean, that would be insane. It would.
Unless you really had something to sell, and that was your bread and butter, and you really had to. Really had
so
to
Jeff
promote it.
Kaiser, he would do last time when I was out there 2 years ago, he was actually working in Maker Shed, and so he was demonstrating the kit and then standing around answering questions about the kit, and then people would actually grab the kit and take it to the register, and he would get a commission on that.
Yep.
That's a very direct thing. Same thing with Adam Wolf and Matthew Beckler, right? The Wayne Lane guys. They were right behind Jeff for that thing. So yeah, very direct connection. It's worth it to do that, but you don't get to see anything else, That kind of stinks.
Right.
So yeah, I'll be there, and
when's that?
we'll be having meetups. Usually there's a Sunday night meetup and Saturday night meetup, so I'll try and get those planned and stuff like that.
When's the Maker Faire, the big one?
It is the same weekend as Hamvention, unfortunately, so I will not be at Hamvention.
Right.
That's what I went to last year, but it is the 17th and 18th of May.
May.
You want to fly over? You want to come over, man?
Nah, I'll pass.
You can go to SolidCon, too.
Wow.
See, that would have been a good one. You could have done that whole week there.
Maker Faire would be good. Maker Faire would be good.
Yeah,
I've always said I wanted to go. Yeah.
Maybe next year you should do it. So this year there's a gauntlet of MakerCon, which was formerly the Hardware Innovation Workshop. They changed the name to MakerCon, and that's on the 13th and 14th. And so then that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and then there's 2 days break.
Yep.
And then Saturday, Sunday is Maker Faire, and then there's 2 days break. And then 21st, 22nd is SolidCon. All of this stuff run by O'Reilly or former O'Reilly employees. So I don't know what they were thinking there other than money. But yeah, so I'm guessing some people will do all that stuff. I will not be doing all of that, but I'll be doing the second 2 or 3. But, you always say that if you come back to the States, you got to
I've got to make it worthwhile. I'd be if I'm coming back. I'm going to plan it. It's going to be a big trip, and I'm going on tour. That's it. We're
going to crowdfund Dave coming to the States.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It's going to happen anyways, but we'll crowdfund it, right?
Right, because just to build the hype,
Yeah, right.
Oh, good. All right. Well, our hour is well and truly up. People have had enough of us yapping on together.
Now people are going to be wondering, was this all a repeat? That's another thing that I liked about last week, is because people always say, we always say, we're repeating ourselves.
Right.
Last week we actually were, so.
Yeah, sorry if we talk about the same shit every week, but we can't help it. The same shit
There's
just
only
comes
so
up.
much.
There is only so much,
Right.
That's what you get.
Yeah, we're like an old married couple. We don't have anything else. We've told each other's story. We know all the stories. We gotta wait for the new stuff to pop up, right?
Right. All right. Catch you next time.
All right, man. we'll talk about the new yogurt at the supermarket.